With the exception of these air conditioning parts that came off of the motorhome, all this big pile of stuff, wires, tubes, pipes, air filter, that all came out of the truck. I've been doing that off camera because it's boring and just a lot of goofing around pulling wire. Wanted to focus in on this though. That looks to be a rectifier. In the previous episode, I'd focused in on it. It was mounted right in front of the radiator, so it had airflow over it. And it had four really big power cables going into it. Three of them to these connectors here. And then there was a common here, and then also an earth that it went down to. So I think the alternator is actually three-phase alternator. I don't know how else to explain that. At the same time, this here big switch, which was right next to the driver's seat, you could turn that and it would select different power sources, I guess. So probably everything to do with redundancy for the fire department. What I'm working on now though, the hydraulics for the power steering. I'm going to take these pipes off here, hydraulic power steering pump there, and all these hoses come from that. And this item here I think is the power steering reservoir. It's all going to be messy. Anyways, this is toward the end of the day for me now. So I'm just going to be unbolting these and let them drain overnight. What I think I'm going to do is see if I can move the wheels back and forth and kind of pump it out of the cylinder. It's moving, but it doesn't seem like there's any oil in the system. Oof. Well, good. Less mess to deal with. Try to cap those somehow. Then continue to drip. Rags, oh no, that one comes out. That's the big one, so maybe we'll have luck here after all. Interesting, the radiator's brass. I got a sharp bend. So it comes out right next to the radiator. Oh well, it's better than it was a minute ago. And okay, so it goes through the reservoir. I'm just expecting that when I take that off, it's going to drip right in the face because that's typically what happens. Here's the fitting. It's kind of hard to see, but I managed to break it loose all right, and it came off with no oil. Cool. I guess try to drag them through, but could disconnect them here. See how that goes. Been pretty lucky so far with no oil. Why am I taping these up? Who knows? I might be able to use this, keep the dirt out of it in the short term. Sheesh. There, make some progress. And now that I got the screwdriver stuck. These rubber isolation mounts were extruded around the top, and that's the body there. Sits down on the rubber donut there onto this hoop that's bolted to the frame. And then underneath there's a shoulder bolt here, and that allowed, there's a big washer that pressed up and it extruded some of that rubber or pushed it out, so it was a big donut on the bottom as well as the top. That rubber is in there. I don't know
I think it's sticking to the frame pretty well. And I think the only way for me to get rid of that is to allow the body to come off, is to chew out that rubber. I've got a hole saw here, and that's just big enough for that stud. There's a shoulder here, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to cut a hole, use this hole saw to cut well, first, I've got this bigger one. I'll cut a donut or a piece of wood with this hole saw. And then, using that same pilot hole, I'll drill a smaller, I'll drill out that pilot hole. And what I can do then is I'll stick that piece of wood inside the hole saw, and that'll give me a guide around that stud to chew that rubber out. Let's see how that goes. Oh, well, that would have worked, except that hole saw is shallower than that bolt. So, can't quite get up in there. The only thing I can do is just kind of use a drill and just drill holes all the way around it. And hopefully that'll be enough to get it break free. Well, let's do that for the next three and try to lift the body off. Well, I thought that by removing this bar from the steering sector here, that was going to free the body to come off. But, well, the steering sector is firmly bolted to the frame, and the steering column is bolted to the steering sector. So I've got to take some plates off on the inside, and I think I should be able to access some bolts and then pick the steering column off. After that, I think the body is actually ready to come free. So far, so good. They're self-tappers. Some foam. And 4 bolts, but there's also a clamp here. I wonder what that does. There's also a clamp here. I'm going to take these off. See what that does for us. Looks to be a bolt, 7/16 maybe, 1/2 inch. There's also a couple of wiring harnesses to cut. Well, actually, I could just take that off there. That'd be one of them. Flat-bladed screwdriver. Okay, unclip it. Didn't have to cut nothing. Well, I think I got it. Steering sector had to be in a certain position. Unscrewed. There it is. That's not steel. That's steel. That steering sector is made of stainless steel. I'll be doggone. Yep. It's coming off. It looks like the cab is coming off. just fine. So, how do I get this thing off of here? I guess I'll use my gantry, but where do I lift from? Where do I pick it up from? These handles might be something. They're pretty heavy. How about the front? Right. I can't lift this from the fiberglass top. I don't think that would pick it up. And I don't know how I'd do that anyway. Yeah. I think what I might have to do is jack this up and block it up and then pull the frame out from underneath it. Or could I use my lift? Maybe I can use the lift. That's what we'll do. We'll use the lift. Well, I think I got it. Underneath the passenger seat was it's like a shelf that they'd made to hold a battery or something. It came in later because it was actually, everything else was bolted to the body except for that one bolt that was bolted to the frame. It was just a 7/16 bolt. There might be a problem here because the frame is awfully close to the front of this. In fact, I think I'm going to try to pick it up a little bit and then run the frame back just an inch, and that should clear. There we go. There we go. Should be it. Should be. There's some kind of bracket here. Well, there's the offending thing. I don't know what that bracket does, but it's bolted to the dang it. Pristine body, destroyed by a darn bolt. Body mount, back there, one over there. Pretty clean except where I destroyed the back of the cab. That plate there, you can just kind of see, it's kind of bent downward. That was bolted to the frame. And that's where it's buckled now. It's behind the seat, that bolt. The radiator didn't take any damage though. That's a good thing. The fire truck cab is in the air. The frame is free to move out. I need to change places, change things around a bit. I don't need the cab yet. I need it out. But I need to strip the frame. So to do that, I need to take the frame outside. I'm going to bring a small trailer in and build a frame to hold this cab on it. And then I'll get that wheeled outside, bring the frame back in, and I'll start stripping it. Here's my mounts, and here's the trailer. Trailer has got sides. I take the sides off and try to make something that goes against these frame mounts to just rest onto this trailer in such a way that the cab doesn't tip that way. It's tongue heavy. So here we go. It's been suggested that I try to start this motor. While I was underneath it before, I got a wrench under the front pulley there, and I was able to turn it full 360. So I know it's not bound up, it's not seized. But to start it, I reckon it's probably, I'm guessing, a 24-volt system. I don't have two batteries. At least one of the starting solenoids is gone, exploded. Yeah, I just don't want to spend the money or the time, expend the effort to try to start this. So it is just going to wind up in the scrap pile, I think. And yeah, that'll be the end of this. Maybe I might keep the transmission. I don't know yet. Drive shaft has got to come off. The air compressor, I think, might be usable for something. The power steering pump definitely can be used for something. The radiator, it's actually got copper and brass in it. I was looking underneath. It's pretty good metals out in there. Yeah. But aside from that, yeah, I'll just take the motor off first, get it out of the shed. I'm hoping my tractor can pick this motor up, because I think it might be heavier than that tractor's rated for. If not, I'll have to just drag it out or break pieces off and drag it out. Maybe the head comes off and all that. I'll get it out of here somehow. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me so far. If you like what I've done, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next episode.